All right, well, we're back with another Footy on 9 season preview with Nathan Brown. Brownie, we'll have a look at the reigning premiers Richmond, and not a lot of needs this off-season for them on a trade front.
No, there wasn't. They're building a dynasty down at the Tigers. 3 of the last 4 premierships. Jack Higgins goes out. He's a big loss, Jack Higgins. A very good player, but they've got a lot of players that size who can run and damage and good defensive pressure in that forward end. No major ins, but as you'd expect for a club like that, they are going very well.
Well, when you're the reigning premier, there's a lot of talk about premiership hangovers and whether they still have the hunger. Do you think they'll be as hungry as ever in 2021?
I think they will be. I think they will be hungry because when you look at the dynasties, and they want to create a dynasty at Richmond, you look at Brisbane, they won 3 premierships. You look at Hawthorn, who won so many premierships, and also Geelong 07, 09, 11. I don't think just yet people have them in the same category as those 3 dynasties. If they win another one, though, all of a sudden you start talking about Richmond potentially being one of the best of all time. But I think to do that, they need to win another one, and that's where the hunger comes from.
Last year they had a few off-field indiscretions with a couple of players being sent home from the hub, and this pre-season, a couple of other ones. Do you see that affecting them in any way this year?
It didn't affect them last year. So many things could have affected Richmond last year, and they fronted up every game, got the job done, down at half-time, still won the grand final. So they're a mentally strong outfit. The coach, obviously, there's a lot of people talking about what happened with the coach over the off-season. Does that have an impact? I don't think it has an impact. As a player, you're not concerned with the coach's private life. You are concerned with playing great football. The coach sets what you're going to play football about, but if you're worried about what's going on in the coach's private life, then I think you're in the wrong game. I don't think Richmond are going to do that. I think they're going to be as strong as ever.
Well, in this era, we've seen the likes of Cochin, Riewoldt, Basher, Hooley, Shane Edwards lead the charge. Do you think we might see a bit of a changing of the guard this year with some of those younger Tigers stepping up?
Yeah, some really good young players coming through. Expect Shea Bolton to play really well. But in saying that, I think that Richmond's top end is just still really good. I mean, Trent Cotchin, I still think he's in his prime. Dustin Martin, still in his prime. Jack Riewoldt had a good end of the season last year. You got Tom Lynch, Basher Hooley. All these players, I still think, are in their prime. Shane Edwards gets better and better every year. He's getting older. He's 30 plus at the moment. But I still think their best football is going to come from their senior players.
One of those players you mentioned there is Jack Riewoldt, who had a bit of a lacklustre year last year. Do you see him bouncing back this year?
Yeah, I do. Now, Jack Riewoldt, he looked a bit slow at times early last season, but he didn't do a lot of the pre-season leading in. This year, done a full pre-season, so you find that players who don't do a pre-season do start slowly. And when you're 30 and above, it might be a little bit slower of a start. But Jack Riewoldt's end of the season, and particularly his final series, were really good. So I expect Jack to come out firing.
Well, I guess this is the million-dollar question in a way, but how can the Tigers be stopped?
Well, it's hard to stop the Tigers, but we saw a couple of examples last year. Brisbane in the final beat them in their own game. Just relentless pressure and then quick ball movement. There's 2 things, 2 key areas to beating the Tigers. That relentless pressure, so you tackle them as hard as what they're doing it to you. Geelong did it for a half in the grand final, were relentless in that first half. They used the ball, they used it quickly, then they changed. They tightened up a bit after half time. Brisbane in that final did it for the whole game. The area to beat Richmond, relentless pressure and move the ball as quickly as possible.
All right, Brownie, well, we'll jump on to your predictions now. Who do you see as the big improver at Richmond in 2021?
2 big improvers for me. I think Shea Bolton takes his game to another level, and Noah Bolter. Couldn't help but be impressed with Noah Bolter. His athleticism, his aggression around the football, took on all the big names last year, and I thought he was wonderful. I think he steps up again. So Shea Bolton and Noah Bolter.
Do you see anyone being under a lot of pressure this year?
The pressure comes on the whole footy club in terms of wanting to create a dynasty and staying up there. But if they start poorly, then the pressure will come on Damien Hardwick. There's been a lot of speculation about his private life over the off-season. I don't think we need to even bother about Damien Hardwick's private life. He's a grown adult. He can do what he wants. But in saying that, if they don't win games, the media will start to try and point the finger at maybe that is the reason. I don't think it will be. I think the Tigers will start well. But if there is some sort of pressure, it will come on the coach.
Well, they're expected to make the top 8 and the top 4. Do you see them doing as well this year as they have in previous years?
Yeah, I expect them to finish top 4. I think Richmond will be there at the pointy end again. Top 4 finish for the Tigers.